United Way Suncoast, summertime is game time when it comes to addressing summer learning loss disparities of our Alice children. We're providing free, enriching summer camps for children who reside in homes where families are living paycheck to paycheck. And we're working to also help those parents. Here to tell us more about summer care is Ernst Young, Managing Director for Assurance and super United Way Suncoast volunteer, Joe Bailey. Joe, welcome to Suncoast Snapshot.
Howdy, Ernest. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Well, we're so glad to have you here. And I want to start by noting that you've worked with our education team to support summer care. Give us a brief overview of what summer care will be composed of this summer.
Of course, Ernest. Well, I guess I'll start at a high level. So at a high level, our summer care program is looking to provide two main things for the area. The first is high quality summer camps that provide educational support for our children and financial education for our caregivers. Now, there's a few key goals that we look to achieve through the program. The first, I think you mentioned, is to address summer learning loss among our Alice households. And I know we're all familiar with that here at United Way, but for those that aren't, these are families that are asset limited, income constrained, and employed, those that may be one paycheck away from poverty, potentially. And this program provides free, enriching summer camps and childcare during the summer for these Alice families. It provides reading support through these summer camps and also provides financial education to the parents. And it's been serving our community for, I think, over a decade. Yep. Here in the Hillsborough and Pinellas area, and it fits very well into United Way Suncoast's three pillar areas: early learning, youth success, and financial stability. So just a little bit about how it does that. The summer care program provides scholarships to pre-K and elementary age students to attend these high quality summer camps. It promotes literacy engagement, experiential learning. It provides additional tutoring supports for struggling readers, and not just to maintain school year reading levels, but to achieve literacy gains over the summer months as well. Optionally, United Way Suncoast also provides what are called summer bridge book curriculum. This provides to students that attend one of these partner summer camps. And as I mentioned, it encourages families to connect with financial stability resources as well.
You know, Joe, when we think of kids and we think of summer, we think of the beach, we think of theme parks, we think of fun and frivolity. But summer care run by United Way Suncoast is really important to the students' educational progress. Can you talk a little bit about that and why it's so important?
Sure. And fun and play is definitely an important part of growing up. It's an important part of learning as well. So there is a bit of that in these programs as well. But as we know, when they're away from school, it's a vulnerable time for children's education. Mm-hmm. So many children, especially those living in Alice families, generally they lose the equivalent of 2 months of reading skills during the summer. So over time, that learning loss is compounded. So by the time you reach the end of elementary school, they may be more than 2 years behind their peers in reading. The statistics show that 2/3 of the socioeconomic achievement gap can be explained by unequal access to summer learning opportunities.
Wow.
So as a result, children within these Alice households, because of that, are less likely to graduate from high school, enter college. So through these programs, children who have access to quality summer programs, the summer care program, they have access to books, they have access to appropriate reading instruction, and they can maintain those skills that they acquired during the school year. So these programs, they really help elevate, they help energize, they really help empower children in our community to be successful through literacy.
Yeah, and once they fall behind, it's so hard for them to catch up. And so, boy, the role summer care is playing is critical. Now, let's talk about the role you've played. You've volunteered to support the selection process for the different campsites. Tell me more about that process and the role that you played, Joe.
Absolutely. Well, not just me. The program is a community volunteer-led process. So professionals all throughout the community, they come together to evaluate the agencies that apply for summer care funding. So really just a few things that we look for in the application. It's a very structured process supported by professionals at United Way Suncoast, but there's a few things that we look for and that we evaluate within each application. We look for, was the agency able to demonstrate a community need that's to be addressed through their program? Did they explain what their program is clearly within the application? One of the most important components is, are there clear educational and experiential components within the application? What I mean by that is, does the agency have a deliberate educational component for their program that includes evidence-based education curriculum?
Yeah, we're data driven, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. Data-driven, evidence-based. And then on top of that, does the agency have deliberate experiential and resiliency learning to their summer program as well? And that could be where the fun comes in, right? So those are the educational components that we look for. And as I mentioned, the summer care program focuses on ALICE households. It focuses on United Way Suncoast schools of focus. So we want to make sure that the applications reflect that.
Yeah, that's great. And we know we have those accountability measures in place every year. And we know that, as you say, for more than a decade, summer care has enjoyed tremendous success. So as we wrap up, Joe, I want to note that in addition to working with the summer care team, you're actively involved in United Way Suncoast's Admiral Society leadership group. And so I want to ask, what inspires you to give so much of your time, talent, and treasure to United Way Suncoast?
Sure, Ernest, it's purpose, really. You know the saying, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together.
Go together, yes.
Yep. And I really believe that, Ernest. I believe that rising tides lift all ships. And you mentioned time, talent, and treasure. Treasure, many people, especially with means, can at times, part with treasure very easily, but it doesn't scale. It doesn't go far. I know it tends to go fast, but it doesn't go far these days. It's a drop in the ocean, and it's not something that'll really raise all tides, right? But if you think about time, time is finite, time is valuable. Time scales quite a bit with talent. Money goes nowhere unless you have the talent that knows what to do with it and the time to get it done, right?
Yeah.
And so through my involvement with summer care and everything else that United Way does, the agency funding process, the workplace cabinet, Admiral Society, like you mentioned, that's really where I like to spend my time to learn, to understand the problem, to understand where the need is. And in spending that time, I really hope to meet the talent across our community that can serve the concerns of our community. I really want to meet the helpers, and especially the Admiral Society. We're looking for helpers, those philanthropic minded in our community that are a representation of our community, that are willing to devote their time, treasure, and their talents to their actions in our community, the helpers. And so that's what we mean within Admiral Society by representative philanthropy in action. And you probably know this about me, Ernest. I'm a runner, and I like to go far, and that's my why. That's my inspiration. That's my purpose. Uniting with others to go together to go far.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Joe, we are celebrating our centennial this year. And when we started as the Tampa Welfare League and Community Chest in 1924, it was all about coming together so we could have a meaningful impact. So, all right, Joe, thank you so much for being with us today. You can learn more about United Way Suncoast and all of its education programs, as well as the Admiral Society by visiting unitedwaysuncoast.org. And as always, remember, united we rise.
United we win.
Yes, Joe.